Hey guys, we just got done showing you how we field dress or gut the salmon when we're here in Idaho fishing for wild Chinook salmon. So what I'm going to do now is show you how we fillet the fish while we're on the river. So what you want to do first and foremost is you want to make sure you have a really sharp knife. We really like the Cutco fillet knives. And I'm actually going to cut off this fin. Some people do it while they're field dressing it, but I'm just going to go ahead and do that now. It just makes the fillet a little bit cleaner. And just watch your fingers very carefully. And then you just pull that back and you just cut it right off. So you're not really wasting any meat. You throw that in the river. Then what you want to do is take your knife and then you want to come right here behind the gill plate where the skin naturally stops. And then you're going to press down until you feel the backbone. Then as soon as you get to the backbone, what I'm going to do is flip my knife. And then as I'm pushing the knife against the backbone, I'm going to kind of angle it so the blade is towards the ground. So that way I'm trying to, the idea here is you want to waste as little meat as possible and just have a nice, smooth, fluid movement. So I'm going to start, sometimes that first cut is the hardest, and again, having a sharp knife will make a big difference when you're filleting. And then you just want to make sure that that knife stays right against the backbone as you're bringing it down, watching your fingers the entire time. And again, see how I'm angling the blade down while I'm doing this? That's because you don't, if you start to angle the knife up, you're gonna get weird wavy chunks in your fillet. And now as you get to the end of the fish, you really wanna be careful again to push that blade down and come all the way out. In Idaho, we're not allowed to keep fish that have a back fin. So when you're filleting them, it's important that you keep the scar. So I didn't keep the scar in this one because I'm going to prove that there was a scar in the back half of the fillet. And then you just push up like that. You lift that fillet up. Look, that is a really nice, beautiful fillet. Hardly any meat was left on the backbone. And then what you can do at this point, although I usually wait until I get home, is you can take your knife and take these bones out of the fillet, and then you just very lightly and very gently put your knife right underneath the bones and just kind of go shoot, 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 and get all these bones out, so that way when you're cooking the salmon you don't have to deal with bones. So I'm going to just rinse this in the river water here, and then I'm going to add it to the first fillet, my first fish that I already filleted. And then we're going to flip it over and work on the other side. Now, sometimes the back side's a little bit harder because you don't have the meat of the body to work with. But again, I'm going to cut this front fin off very, very carefully here. Don't want to get your fingers in the way. Alright, so again, you're going to take the knife to the end where the gill plate naturally ends, and then you're just going to push down until you feel that backbone. And you'll be able to tell when you get to the backbone because it feels really hard, almost crunchy. And then I'm going to flip my knife this way and start the fillet process. It's a little bit harder for me on this other side because the fish naturally wants to move a little bit, and so it's harder to get quite as good of a fillet. Just follow that backbone the entire way. Now, again, when I get here, it's really important that I'm going to focus on keeping the scar intact. So if I wasn't worried about a scar and if I was just at home, I wouldn't do this. But here, what I'm going to do is actually cut through the backbone on the back end. Just so if Fish and Game checks me, I can prove, you can see that scar there, and I can prove that I kept that scar intact, which does kind of mess up the fillet a little bit, but that's what the rules are here in Idaho. Alright, and then you flip that over, and you've just got a really nice, beautiful fillet. You can see where I tried to prove the scar, it got messed up a little bit, but that's alright. And then what I'm going to do is take the carcass, you can see there's hardly any meat left on it. And then we're just going to throw this back in the river so that way all the little fish that live in this river system can eat off of that. And you know, one thing I always say, you ask 10 different people how they fillet a fish and you might get 10 different answers. Just like you ask 10 different people how they set up their fishing poles and you might get 10 different answers. But this is the way that I've done it for years and it works really well. And then I just get these 2-gallon Ziploc bags and I put the fillets in and then we pack them out on our backpacks as we hike out of the river. And it just makes it a lot easier and a lot lighter if we're able to fillet the fish on the river. So I hope this was helpful and informative for you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. We read all those comments and we'll answer them to the best that we can. Make sure if you like this video to give it a thumbs up, to subscribe to our channel, and we love to hear from you guys, so go cast your silhouettes and share it with us.